Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Time About the Movies. We have finally entered 1990, and yet we're going to talk about movies from 89 because we still have at least 7 more movies on this list that I made for the 1989 leftover films. The movies that I did not see on Box Office Mojo, but I went to Wikipedia, saw that they were on the list of movies that came out that year, and I figure, why not go ahead and talk about them? So let's go ahead and get to it so we can jump ahead into the 90s. Let's go ahead and start off with the first movie, and the first movie is a pretty unique animated film I've never even heard of before until I looked it up on here. It's called Gandahar. Yeah, I know that clip isn't the best clip on there. It's very pixelated, but I'll tell you this much. This movie looks impressive animation-wise. This is directed by René Laloux. It's based off of a book by Jean-Pierre Andevon. But I gotta say, the trailer for this looks really impressive. The animation looks really incredible for something of this caliber. I never seen the movie before. Like I said, I didn't even know about it until I actually looked it up on Wikipedia. But now that I've seen clips of it, it really does make me want to see this movie. Like, I really do want to see this movie largely because of the animation. It has this very nice heavy metal style animation to it, and I don't know. It's one I'll definitely want to. I definitely do want to check out. And hopefully that I can convince you guys to check it out too. So look it up. Look it up on YouTube. Gandahar. I just saw the clip. The movie is on there, so I'll check it out at some point. So that's Gandahar. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. And the next movie is Penn and Teller Get Killed. I mean, the concept here, Penn and Teller in a movie about what people think they do during their daily lives and getting caught up in this action adventure, that's a lot of good potential there for a movie. And I'm not gonna lie, parts of this trailer were pretty tempting, but judging from what I hear about this movie is not as good as those trailers make it out to be. I mean, there are parts in this trailer where I did get a genuine laugh out of them the first time I saw them, but this is directed by Arthur Penn, and Arthur Penn, if you don't know who this director is, he's been the director of such movies as Bonnie and Clyde. He also did Little Big Man, The Chase, Dead of Winter, Target. These great movies of differing variations, like how you perceive them. But this is the last film he directed, and from what I've been hearing about this one, it's not as good as a lot. This trailer gives it the credit to be, but I don't know. I might give it a shot one day, but I'm not going to go into it with the highest of expectations after what I've heard. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the trailer for Penn and Teller Get Killed. Let's go and move on to the next movie, and that is Chud 2, Bud the Chud. Yeah, this is about what I expect from your typical horror sequel. Like, the first movie is supposed to be taken seriously, and then with the second film, it's just like, let's add a little bit of comedy to it. And I'm not gonna lie, some parts of this did make me laugh a little bit. I like that there are some more notable names in this particular film. But yeah, it looks like your typical horror sequel that's trying to be kind of a horror comedy, like another Evil Dead. But there were parts of this that did make me laugh, but it's not something I'm gonna rush out to see anytime soon. Plus, now I know where that line, what in the wide world of sports is going on around here. I've heard it so many times, I've never figured out what movie it's from until now, so there you go, that's something. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Kris Kristofferson in Welcome Home. Boy, so much went for this movie. I mean, Franklin Schaffner, who also directed Planet of the Apes and Patton, directed this movie. Music by Henry Mancini, a cast that includes Kris Kristofferson, Jo Beth Williams, and Sam Waterston. And it looks like your typical melodramatic Vietnam War drama. I mean, we already had a great Vietnam War drama in 1989 with Born on the 4th of July, so... And this came out before Born on the 4th of July did, and that movie was a far superior film than this was. I guess from the trailer for it, it doesn't look terrible, but it looks like your typical melodramatic Lifetime movie of the week type of film, like a movie you would see back then. You would see it on NBC or CBS as the movie of the week. But other than that, though, it looks about as generic as you can get for a movie of this caliber. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and the next movie is Limit Up. I mean, I mean, geez, what happened there? I mean, it starts off looking like a Trading Places ripoff, kind of, but then they add this character Denitra Vance as kind of like a wicked witch or something like that, or some kind of mystical spear with magical powers. It's just like, what the hell is going on in this movie? And Ray Charles has a big role in it too. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it certainly looks bizarre in so many ways. I mean, you got Nancy Allen, Ray Charles, Brad Hall, Denitra Vance, Dean Stockwell, but yeah, I don't know what to think about this movie. I think this movie was just like, it started off like a Trading Places knockoff, and then they said, you know what's popular right now? Movies with supernatural elements, which is a Beetlejuice. Let's add one character with supernatural powers and see what happens there. I haven't seen this movie, so I don't know if that's what's happening or not, but that's certainly what it looks like from this trailer. I mean, that escalated really fast. That's all I got to say about Limit Up. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Stepfather 2. God bless Terry O'Quinn, man. He's the one thing that keeps these movies somewhat watchable. Even then, this really doesn't work as a movie. I mean, it's basically the same thing as the first movie. It's this guy who moves in with another family, becomes the stepfather, and then they find out his secret past, and it's just lather, rinse, and repeat again. I mean, I guess they were trying to make the stepfather kind of like the next Freddy or Jason, but you got to have some kind of a hook to it or something cool with him. But no, this character just keeps doing the same thing over and over again. He just keeps going to these widowing mothers who don't have a husband, has a family, gets married to him, and then just goes through the same kind of thing. When people start to realize who he really is, it's just like, okay, why do I want to see that for multiple movies? It works for the first movie, but not for the same movie over and over again. And they made another one after this one. Even with the remake they did back in 2009, I believe, it's pretty much just the same movie as the first movie, and there's no real hook to it. It's just like, let's remake it for the sake of remaking it because people know that name, the Stepfather. So that's my thoughts on Stepfather 2. We've mostly looked at these movies, and most of them have been pretty mediocre, but let's go ahead and talk about the most significant movie on this list, and that is the last movie that made its debut in America in 1989, and that is Akira. Not only is Akira one of the greatest achievements in animation, but in terms of action, science fiction, and just movies in general, it's a landmark film. It's a movie that has stood the test of time, still has great animation that still holds up to this very day, has a great story that still holds up to this very day. The action, the emotional moments, the heartfelt moments, the moments where the sci-fi elements really take over and go gonzo crazy. You could tell how much of a significant impact this movie had on pop culture because you see this movie referenced all over the place, whether it's in South Park, Batman the Animated Series, The Simpsons. Anything and everything has taken something from this particular movie, and it's a classic movie. It's a movie that just holds up on so many levels, and it's largely helped because of this fantastic animation by TMS. TMS Animation, by the way, would later go on to do the animation for shows like Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series. They would have their hand on some other animated movies too, but most of them did not meet the same success factor that this movie did. This is just a classic movie on so many levels. It's a movie that you can watch so many times and still be amazed by it after all these years. And it's hard to believe that people still want to try to remake this for live action and try to get that same feeling to it. But you're not going to be able to get that. You're just not going to be able to get that from this movie whatsoever. No matter how hard Warner Brothers tries to make this movie, they've been trying to make a live action movie for almost 20 years now. Maybe more than that. I'm not entirely sure, but you just can't replicate that no matter who you get for this movie. Even if you get somebody like who they have been getting recently, like Taika Waititi, or even somebody like Denis Villeneuve, who did Dune, which was fantastic. I don't even think they could get it right, because one of the big problems that they had with getting this movie made in live action form was because Warner Brothers wanted more creative control. They wanted to make it more like a typical American action film. You can't really do that. They wanted product placement. They wanted young, sexy actors. So people that don't really have the talent but are recognizable names, and you can't really do that. There was even a point 10 years ago when they were going to make this movie, and they were going to get Keanu Reeves to play Kaneda. Keanu Reeves is not playing, and Kaneda are two very different age groups altogether. So thank God that didn't happen. I love Keanu Reeves, but even he couldn't make that work. So bottom line is, don't remake Akira in live action. That's the one thing I want to make clear from this. But just go watch the original movie again. It's still a classic movie. It still holds up to this very day. It's a phenomenal movie. It's one that you have to see. It's one of those great movies that you need to see before you die. It's a fantastic film. I can't recommend it enough. Akira, just a classic film. And just like that, we're done with 1989. It's been fun looking back on the year I was born, and we're only just getting started. Next time around, we look at the first 4 new releases of 1990, including Richard Gere in Internal Affairs, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, a.k.a. the one where they tried to make Leatherface the new Freddy Krueger, Ski Patrol, and Downtown. So those 4 movies will open up not only a new year, but a new decade in film to look at. So going to be definitely fun to look at 1990 next. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, if you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist of 1989 on the next page. Check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow as we jump into the 1990s. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and until then, take care.